Okay, so there's this Korean horror novel, right? Got Dropped into a Ghost Story, Still Gotta Go to Work. And okay. So it starts off with the main character, who we're gonna call Rodeer because I can't pronounce their names, and I'm not going to try to. Okay, I'll explain the nicknames later, but basically everyone's getting a nickname. But basically, Rodeer is a fan of this thing called the Dark Exploration Records. Okay. And he's obsessed with it. He's trying to play it off, but he's obsessed with it. It's like his whole thing. And he goes to this pop-up store, which is basically a store that sells a bunch of merch of it. And, well, he's feeling a little embarrassed pulling up because, like, this mostly consists of, like, a middle school-aged fandom, and he's a full-grown man. And the parents are staring at him a bit like, what's this guy doing here? So he's embarrassed, but he buys his stuff, and he starts to leave before seeing that there's a little, like, event where you create your own character. And he wants to attend because they have prizes, but he's like, can my social dignity handle that? Before an employee asks him, you want to attend? And he's like, oh my gosh, yes, thank you. Well, in his mind, because he's kind of very nonchalant. He has a poker face. But anyways. And basically he does the sort of the challenge, which is a roulette wheel, and he's keeping expectations low. Like, he's probably going to get last place, but bam, he locked in. He pulled the first place prize. He's so excited. He just wants to go home and make sure this is all real. And, like, he's just so happy. And they tell him, okay, one last thing. We need your name to create your own character. And he doesn't care for that part. He's like, yeah, okay, my name. He gives him his name. And they create his own character at, oh, right. The Dark Exploration Records are basically an online community that creates, well, it's a horror universe, and this universe is created by a large online group of people that all create various horror stories, which eventually created a whole universe which eventually created a whole, like, universe of this horror story, like a whole built-in universe with, like, rules and factions and stuff. And yeah. And basically, he gets his own character at a certain faction called Daydream Inc., which is essentially an evil company that takes advantage of ghost stories, uses them for profit, yada yada. And he's like, yeah, and his character is part of the field exploration team, which is a team that consists of, like, it's a team that goes into the ghost stories to collect stuff for Daydream, the company. And basically their whole bit is that they die in horrible and unique ways. And he's like, cool, he's cringing. He wants to go. The employee asks him, oh my gosh, you'll share it, right? And he's like, yeah. And then they call him a liar. And then they start smiling, a really wide, unnatural smile. And suddenly, Rodeer gets dizzy. He starts seeing black splotches, the red and blue flashes, and he wakes up in a completely different place. Specifically, at a new employee orientation for Daydream Inc.'s field exploration team. He freaks out. No one else knows what's going on because the new employees for field exploration team don't actually know they're signing up for a ghost story job because, like, ghost stories are kind of unknown in this universe. It's like normal Earth, but there's ghost stories hidden around and only certain people know about it. So he freaks out, but it's too late, and they get sent into a ghost story. And the ghost story is basically a subway that gives you certain instructions, and if you fail to follow those instructions, you die. But basically the instructions are simple, which is basically get off at your destination and sit down. There's going to be some, like, rocky motion, simple instructions. But the thing is, I already said it. If you get off at the wrong destination, you die. And there's no way to tell which destination is the right one. And Rodeer is arguably freaking out. Everyone else starts freaking out when they see people get off and straight up die. And Rodeer mentions a little detail to us that he hadn't mentioned before, which is that he's absolutely terrified of horror. He cannot handle horror. He cannot handle visual horror, audio horror. He can't handle any of that. He can only handle reading horror, which is what he did, because most of the Dark Exploration records consist of, like, a wiki, and that's what he reads. That's what he loves reading. But he cannot handle living here. He cannot handle existing in a real-life ghost story. And he's freaked out. And he comes up with a plan that he needs to, by remembering the wiki, he needs to come up with a way to leave. And he needs to find a way to get as many people off with him so he won't faint, because he's all alone. And he finds two individuals, who we'll call Goat and Goral. And he finds out something interesting. Goat is a named character from the wiki, specifically a member of the field exploration team of Daydream. I'm sorry. Anyways, Goat is a character who is nicknamed the Viper. And he also realizes something about Miss Goral, that she is not a named character, which implies that she probably died in some horrible and unique way, and therefore was never named. And he's like, oh, that's not good. But anyways, they go throughout the story. He tries to save people. People call him crazy. People, like, also depend on him, yada yada. And eventually, we get an escape case, a way that they can escape. But only one person, which is that the train tells them that there is a lost item. and that the lost item is the left eye type A. Okay, it's the left eye of a male in his 20s that is blood type A. Okay. But only one person can get off of this. So the people in the train, the little compartment, start looking around to see if anyone matches that. And one guy volunteers. He says, "Yes, I match the description perfectly." And Goat, the character Goat, asks him, "Are you sure?" And he says, "Yeah." And Goat then says, "Too bad," and smashes his eye out. Yeah. And then he runs out of the train and starts mocking everyone, calling them an idiot and stuff. That is, if it only takes one eye, then he'd gladly sacrifice his own eye to escape. And suddenly everything makes sense in Rodeer's head, because Goat had been acting rather friendly beforehand, which didn't match his description in the dark exploration records, where he was nicknamed the Viper, you can guess. And Rodeer also realizes something else, that you don't actually have to sacrifice your own eye to escape. It's a lost item. That means someone lost it and that it's somewhere on the subway. So he just finds the lost item, well, like, kind of, but not important, and shows it to Goat. And Goat freaks out because he's like, "Oh, I didn't have to sacrifice my own eye." But it's too late. Goat is outside the train, and the station staff retrieve the item from his skull. And the last we hear of him is a scream. And then we continue on. And finally, Rodeer figures out a way to figure out what their destiny... he figures out a way to figure... Okay. I'm not cutting this, by the way. I don't care enough. But anyways, he figures out a way to figure out what their destination is. And he figures out, and he reasons that their destination is a place they've never been. And so far, every single station has been named off an emotion. Anger station, resentment station, euphoria station, etc. So they have to get off at a station with an emotion, with the name of an emotion that they've never felt before. So he tells everyone to get off at Serenity Station, because no one's ever going to be truly serene, especially not in this situation. He's a little freaked out, though, because it's like the entire station is filled with blood, but Goro helps him get along his way. And he managed to get everyone in his compartment out. Well, everyone left. And they all wake up back at the new employee orientation, with the host congratulating them all, like, "Oh my gosh, wow, so many people survived this time, yay." And everyone is there. All the survivors are there, including Goat. And everyone's really pleased. The host tells him that he was actually the top rookie of the entire batch, with Goat right next to him and Goro third. And yeah, they all get little prizes, only for the host to then reveal that, "Hey, by the way, we don't actually allow freeloaders, so if you didn't contribute to the escape, yeah, we don't allow that." And basically they all started melting and they disappeared. Like, they didn't scream or anything, they just kind of died. I'm assuming. Never said, they just kind of melted. But you can assume. So at this point, everyone wants to quit. Like, no one wants this new job, and they're like, "Okay, we're out." But the host insists that they listen to the employee perks. And Rodeer already knows it's coming, because he read this all in the wiki. And the host presents them with the ultimate prize, because what Daydream does is that, based off the dream essence, which is what they collect from ghost stories, they make potions. And their best potion, the potion most employees are after, the reason people work at this company at all, is for the wish ticket. A potion that can grant any wish. Another character asks, someone who we call Mr. Bison, or just Bison, asks, "Can it revive the dead?" And the host confirms, yes, it can. Oh, and by the way, the host had his wish ticket. He said this was the time he received his wish ticket, and the balding old host turned into a beautiful young man. Yeah, basically. And here's where we get the explanation for what I nicknamed them, which is that the main signature mark of the field exploration team is the mask they wear. And Goro gets a Goro mask, Goat gets a Goat mask, Bison gets a Bison mask, and, well, Rodeer gets a weird-looking mask with, like, antlers, so everyone just kind of assumed it's a Rodeer because it's tougher than, like, normal deer. Yeah. And after the announcement of the wish ticket, Rodeer finds that not a single person wanted to quit. They all wanted to stay, despite the horrific death and suffering they just saw. And Rodeer finds that he's the exact same, because the wish ticket is his only way to get back home to his ghost storyless life. And so he becomes an employee at the field exploration of Daydream Inc., although he does come upon a problem, which is the fact that he doesn't have a house here. Like, he just got, like, isekai'd here. Like, he doesn't have anywhere to live. But luckily, Daydream Inc. has insane employee benefits and offers free housing. And so he goes, and they assign him with a roommate, and he finds out his roommate is Goat. And he walks in, he sees Goat chilling on the couch, and he tries to walk by, but Goat suddenly starts getting mad at him, like, why'd you just let me lose my eye? Does that make you feel pleasure? Like, what, you sicko, you psycho? And Rodeer figures something out, like, oh, so if I try to act nice or apologize or reason, he's just going to, like, keep going. So Rodeer works out a completely normal solution, which is to act like a psychopath, to act utterly insane. Yes, I actually did enjoy you getting your eye ripped out. Please bring me more good news soon. That was so much fun. I hope you get put on the same squad. And Goat is really freaked out because that's not really how Roe Deer behaved before. And basically, Roe Deer uses that technique to scare him off. See, I'm way more of a psycho than you. Back up. Back up. And so, Roe Deer, oh, by the way, there has been this little notepad that appeared above Roe Deer. He's not sure where it came from, but this little notepad spits out items, specifically merch he bought at the pop-up store. Except now it actually has a use. For example, the first item he got was a little pop socket. And this pop socket gives him the ability to input his memories as words into his phone. So he can remember so he can put the entirety of the wiki into his phone. And because of that, he now has the entirety of the Dark Exploration records to study, and that's what he does the entire weekend before working. He studies that like crazy because if he doesn't, he will die. That is his lifeline now, and he needs to memorize that. But anyway, he goes to work, and he is assigned to the D squad, Squad D team, you know? And he meets two of his superiors, Miss Falcon and Mr. Badger, both friendly, mildly intimidating fellows who get him used to this world of ghost stories. And then they immediately dump him into a ghost story, his first day as a rookie. And he's horrified because, again, he is scared of horror. And remember how I said he can't handle stuff alone? Like, he does worse when he's alone? Yeah. So, basically, the ghost story consists of you're in a convenience store, and this ghost chases you around for 3 days. And if you survive, and if you get through the 3 days without getting tagged or touched by the ghost, then you get, like, a cash prize. But Roe Deer is really bad at this, and he's, like, actually going insane. And he only gets tagged, like, 2 times. And by the way, every time you get tagged, it resets. So you have to start the 3 days over again. And he reasons that he actually will go insane if he, like, goes all through the 3 days. So he decides to find a little method using the wiki, or, like, what he remembers of it, because obviously he can't use his phone. That'll alert the ghost. He tries to figure out a way to speed it up. And he figures it out. Actually, I won't explain that. It's not really, like, that important. But basically, he finds a way to escape in 1 hour instead of 3 days. And obviously, his superiors aren't expecting that because, like that's unprecedented. No one's done that before. But the reason they sent him in there wasn't just because they were being mean, although they get a lot of, like, quips at it from, like, higher-ups, because people keep quitting after getting immediately thrown into a ghost story alone. And the reason they do it is because they reason that if you can't handle this, you're going to die. You're straight up going to die. So better to be scared off early and quit than die. And so their new rookie completes it in 1 hour, and they're so proud of him, and they have to keep him now because no way they're letting him go. Like, that is insanely talented of him. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, or at least mildly entertained, and that this made some semblance of sense. Bye.